My name is Anthea Martin. So let's see who else is here with the board. Do we have Nancy Jackson? Ryan Jones?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, Ryan. James Martinez, see you.
I'm here.
J. Ryan Moses?
Here.
Candace Payne?
Present.
LaDon Sperling?
Here.
And Monique Terpstra. I think I saw Monique a minute ago. She was here, right? Okay. And Nancy Jackson, is Nancy on?
I'm on.
Okay, excellent. Wonderful. We have all of the board members today. Thank you all for joining. We will kick off the meeting today. We've got a lot of deals to discuss. We'll start off with the approval of the April 2025 meeting votes. Are there any questions or comments on the April 2025 meeting notes? Hearing none, can I please request a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Thanks, LaDon, for that second. All those in favor signified by aye or a hand raise.
Aye.
Okay.
And hi, everyone. I am stepping in for Allison George today for the director's comments. My name is Teresa Casano. I'm the director of the Office of Housing, Finance and Sustainability within the Division of Housing. So thank you all for joining us today. We have a very full schedule, as Anthea mentioned, so I won't take up too much time here. Just want to give some updates. So first, I want to update you all on what's happening federally. Many of you probably saw this, but on May 2nd, the president released a skinny budget proposal, which includes funding reductions for several of our programs across DOLA. The full proposal is expected later this month. No, this is just a proposal at this point. We know that Congress will review and make final budget decisions. We also know this is consistent with what happened in the first term, and what was in the skinny budget didn't, automatically mean that was actualized by Congress. So we at the state and DOLA leadership are very actively monitoring the situation, and we will keep you all apprised at these meetings. Any questions on that? All right. Well, in brighter news, Allison George and a host of Division of Housing folks will be at the Colorado National Association of Housing and Redevelopment Officials Conference here in Colorado over the next few days. So the division will be giving 3 presentations on project-based supportive housing, the Colorado Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and the importance of community coalitions in addressing rural homelessness. We're excited. If any of you are there, please let me know and let Allison know, and we'll make sure to come say hi. Last quick update is related to our State Housing Board retreat. Thank you to those of you who have responded to the survey for an in-person availability. Unfortunately, as is the trend as we get towards summer, we're having trouble finding a day where the majority of folks can attend. So look out for an updated availability request from me. We really want to make this happen, but we also want you to be there with us. All right, thanks. I'll turn it back to Anthea to get into our agenda.
Thank you, Teresa. And I am going to go ahead and turn it right back over to you for the 34476 Alpine Valley Apartments memo.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So in accordance with House Bill 24-1308, we have 45 days from receiving a complete application to get a project in front of State Housing Board. There is an exception if we choose to delay things. We just need to let you and the applicant know. So giving you a little bit of background on this project, which we are certainly very excited about. This is a new construction ground up development of a 26-unit multifamily project, affordable to households earning between 80 and 120% AMI. The issue here is really just timing. The sponsor has also applied for Proposition 123 equity through OEDIT, which is administered by CHAFA. Adding that to the capital stack would change the underwriting. We expect those awards to be made imminently, And so we wanted to delay this until our next state housing board to make sure to present you all with an accurate picture of what the capital stack and project plan would be. And so, like I said, we fully intend to bring this in front of state housing board on June 10th when we have a better sense of whether those funds are in the capital stack so we can present you an accurate project for approval. Any questions on that? Excellent. Well, this one will come in front of you June 10th. We will also be evaluating a fee increase approval from our Office of Regulatory Oversight. So a little bit of a different agenda and less projects for you to approve at that point. Turn it over to the next project.
Thank you for that, Teresa. Before we jump into the numerous projects that we have today, I just want to let everyone know for the record that Ryan Jones will be recusing himself for Compass Point. Did I get that right, Ryan?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and I'm going to be recusing myself from Loretto Heights, Summit at Granby, as well as Creekside Flats. And the next project up presenting will be Matt Long. It's 10th and Wolf.
All right. Good morning, all. I'm Matt Long, one of 7 housing development specialists covering the state. 10th and Wolf, their first project up for review. It's located just west of downtown in the Villa Park neighborhood. 10th and Wolf project aims at affordable for sale home ownership to the transformation happening in the neighborhood. The City of Denver Office of Housing Stability, often referred to as HOST, is requesting just over $1.5 million in Prop 123 funds to construct 23 1- and 2-bedroom homeownership units across a 3-story condo building, serving up to 80% AMI residents. This request equates to $66,000 a unit and just under 15% of the overall capital stack. The average target sales price across the units is $305,000. Host is contributing $1.7 million to the deal. Andrew Sackhouse is the underwriter, and together we are recommending approval of the full $1.518 million request. Laura Allen Hatcher and Tanner Crawley are both here to discuss Host and the overall development in more detail. So I will hand it off to Laura.
Thanks, Matt. This is Laura Allen Hatcher. I'm a housing development officer with Host. Real quick, for any of you who may not be familiar with Host, we are the Department of Housing Stability in the City of Denver. We were implemented in 2019 as a spinoff from our Department of Economic Development, so that the city would have an office that focuses strictly on housing development and housing related issues. We are split into 3 different working teams, if you will. One is housing opportunity, which is for developing and preserving new rental and ownership opportunities in Denver. We also have a housing stability arm that helps in prevention of homelessness or with addressing homelessness and also involuntary displacement. And then the homelessness is spun off now to a separate working team. So we have housing opportunity, housing stability, and homelessness resolution. I work in the housing opportunity team to put forward new or renovated housing opportunities. And with 10th and Wolf, we are requesting funding from the state to support, as Matt said, 23 new units for home ownership and a condo development. Couple of reasons why Host is particularly supportive of this project would include in 2025, we have a goal of providing at least 21 units of home ownership, and this project would help us reach that goal right away. This would immediately check off that box for our goals for 2025. The overall goal for Host is to develop 3,000 units. So it's just a small portion of what we're doing this year. Our 5-year strategy includes trying to increase the BIPOC home ownership rate from 41% to 45%. At the end of 2023, we had made it to 43%. So assuming that this project will assist with that, this is another reason why we'd be supportive of it. Additionally, it's located in a gentrifying neighborhood of Villa Park. And we will implement our new prioritization policy, which requires 30% of the units minimum be offered 2 weeks to the area where people may have been displaced or at risk of displacement to get priority opportunity to apply to purchase these units. Combining that with, as well as other creation of new opportunities, we will combine that with our Metro DPA program to push forward our increase in BIPOC home ownership goals. Another reason why we like this project a lot is that oftentimes with home ownership, we are seeing quite a bit of preservation projects, and this will be a new construction product with, high quality, brand new construction and then very attractive amenities, which I will allow Tanner to address. I think at this point, then I will go ahead and hand it off to Tanner. Tanner, are you ready to go?
Yeah, thanks, Laura. And thanks for covering that. We're really excited partnering with Host, a really robust organization with a long track record of funding these projects, doing deed management. Really excited to have them as a partner and have their financial support that allows the state to leverage their funds even further and get to a deeper affordability level. As Laura mentioned, we think this project's really well suited because it is in a high gentrification area. The area's been rezoned because of its proximity to transit, which is great land use, but unfortunately has caused rapid displacement. So that is a great justification for a project in this location. It's also 1,000 feet from a light rail station that you can access via pedestrian pathway and a linear park. The project is a great, nice, small neighborhood scale project. It has significant balconies. The ground floor units have front yard space, so we think they'll compete well in the market. And as I mentioned, they're directly adjacent to a park, so we think that these units will be really well received by the market. We'll market them to households making 70 to 80% of median income, so they'll represent a significant discount to market rate alternatives. Happy to answer any questions.
Should we perhaps move to project 2?
Apparently, Thea's mic is not working. This is LaDawn. I'm the State Housing Board Vice Chair. So until Anthea gets here, I will take over. So seeing no questions about 10th and Wolf, we will move on to Loretto Heights Family Apartments. And I don't have my full agenda pulled up, so I'm not sure who. Oh, Matt Long is introducing it.
Yep, we're going in order. So I have the first 3. So, all right, Loretto Heights. The history of Loretto Heights campus in Southwest Denver dates back to the 1800s when the historic buildings up on a hill were first constructed to serve as an all-girls school. The 70-acre site was purchased in 2018 by a master developer who undertook a years-long planning process in collaboration with the city and surrounding community to develop the vision for redevelopment. The redevelopment now includes more than 1,000 new housing units that are under construction or will be under construction. 100 of those units are proposed in this Loretto Heights application today. Mercy Housing Mountain Plains is requesting $1.5 million in an HDG grant to construct 100 1 to 3 bedroom rental units serving 30 to 70% AMI residents. The $1.5 million request equates to just $15,000 a unit and 3.4% of the overall capital stack. Mercy Housing Mountain Plains is the nonprofit serving as both the applicant and developer. They have a proven history with 40 plus other communities, either developed, preserved, managed, provided resident services for, and or financed. Lisa Blakeney is the underwriter, and together we are recommending the approval of the full $1.5 million request. So Shelly Marquez and Jeff Bader are both here to discuss Mercy Housing Mountain Plains and the overall development. So Shelly, I will hand it off to you.
Great. Thanks, Matt. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to present Loretto Heights development. My name is Shelly Marquez, and I'm the president of Mercy Housing Mountain Plains. Also joining me today is Jeff Bader, who is our project manager. So Mercy Housing is a national nonprofit affordable housing developer founded over 44 years ago by Sisters of Mercy. We operate in 21 states across the U.S. Our focus, as Matt has shared, is serving families, seniors, and people with special needs. We serve 30 to 60% area median income, and Mercy Housing focuses on new development, preserving existing affordable housing, providing resident services, and managing our properties. We have 5 regions. I oversee the Mountain Plains region, where, as Matt had shared, we have 44 properties across the region. In Colorado, we have 19 properties across the state serving low-income residents. The Loretto Heights development will allow us to expand in Southwest Denver area, which the need for affordable housing is significant. I'd like to now hand it over to Jeff, who will talk about Loretto Heights. Jeff?
Awesome. Thank you, Shelley, and good afternoon, everyone. The Loretto Heights Family Apartments will create 100 units of affordable, family-oriented housing at the heart of the Loretto Heights revitalization. Matt, as you alluded to, the historic Sisters of Loretto campus has been subject to significant change since it was purchased in 2018 and the adoption of the Loretto Heights Small Area Plan in 2021 that outlined a bold vision to transform the vacant campus into a dense mixed-use and mixed-income community center for Southwest Denver. This bold vision is spurring robust housing and commercial growth, but the campus is located at the intersection of neighborhoods identified as vulnerable to displacement on Blueprint Denver's most recent annual report. The Loretto Heights Family Apartments will not only help deliver on the community-led vision, but create high-quality affordable housing in an area undergoing significant change and offering residents of all income levels the opportunity to live, work, and play on the campus. The project features a mix of units with 1 to 3 bedrooms, affordable to households earning between 30 and 70% AMI. When we were exploring this project, we recognized the lack of new high-quality family housing options in the area and have committed to addressing this need with 55% of the units having 2 or 3 bedrooms, sizable unit layouts, a standalone activity center designated for youth programming on the ground floor, and a full-time Mercy resident service coordinator on site who will organize all service programming at the property. In addition to the activity center, the project includes a community lounge and kitchen, a fitness room, indoor bicycle storage, a food pantry, and an outdoor patio that will overlook the campus's Great Lawn Park. The project will be fully electric and designed to achieve Zero Energy Ready Homes and Enterprise Green Community certifications, and 10% of the units will be accessible to households with mobility impairments and 4% to folks with sensory impairments. Thank you for your time and consideration, and happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Shelley and Jeffrey. Any questions from the board? It looks like Ryan Jones.
Sure. Thank you for that. Just one quick one. I see you have reinvestment earnings on your lending platform. Just out of curiosity, what's your confidence in that, and what are you assuming for the reinvestment rate right now?
Yeah, so when we applied, we were assuming a MTEB structure where we would use the bond proceeds and reinvest those and help use that to offset some of the interest earned on those bonds. We were not assuming high arbitrage on those. It was kind of a net wash between the interest on the bonds and the reinvestment earnings, which I think it has still held pretty consistent even to today's market.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Oh, so shouldn't be too bad. It's from back 10 minutes. Because it just ended it. Okay, thanks, man.
Hearing none. Thank you, Shelley and Jeffrey. And I apologize. I had issues with my microphone. Did we have a question session on the previous transaction? Matt Long? Can you?
I don't believe so.
We did either. Go ahead, Teresa.
I was actually going to say LaDawn graciously stepped in and asked if there were any questions, and there were none. So I think we moved on. Thank you, LaDawn, for that.
Yeah, thank you for doing that. Moving on to our next transaction, Beeler Park Flats. Again, Matt Long is presenting.
All right, the final time y'all have to hear from me today. So Beeler Park Flats is located in Central Park, formerly the Stapleton Airport, north of I-70 in Denver, and just a few blocks southeast of the Colorado Rapids Soccer Stadium. The site is surrounded by relatively new construction with some nearby homes selling for around $2 million. This specific development involves 64 for-rent 1 to 3 bedroom units, targeting 30 to 60% AMI residents with 51% AMI average across the board. Beeler Park Flats Owner LLC is the official applicant with Mile High Development as the developer. The project team of developer, consultant, architect, GC, and property manager has vast experience in affordable housing. The applicant is requesting an $850,000 HDG cash flow loan that equates to just over 13,000 unit and 3% of the $27 million capital stack. Andrew Stackhouse is the underwriter, and together we are recommending approval of the full $850,000 request. George Thorne and Kelly Pretzer are here to discuss the project in more detail. So with that, I will hand it off to George.
Thank you, Matt. I'm George Thorne with Mile High Development, and I'm pleased to be here again. I think this is my 11th opportunity to present to the State Housing Board. So hello, everybody. This is our second project in the former Stapleton Airport redevelopment, obviously now called Central Park, as you all know. This is up in the northern portion of the park, and the whole area that when we first looked at this site and got involved 5-6 years ago, there were very few houses completed in the neighborhood, and now the entire neighborhood is built out. So we don't have a construction project going on. We sit in the middle of a very unique situation in terms of education. We have 5 schools within walking distance. And I mean within like a half a mile or less in some cases. Northfield High School is directly across the street. We have daycare, we have middle school and elementary, all within walking distance. So a family could see their kids go from the beginning to the end of their education without having to get on a bus to go to school. And we think that's a terrific asset. The Stapleton Central Park neighborhood, as you all know, is filled with amenities. Northfield Shopping Center is less than a mile away. We just finished a 129 unit project there. Again, with help from you all. Thank you very much. Love to have an opportunity to show it to you sometime. We opened it right at the first of the year, and we're already almost 80% leased with a bunch of tenants who I think are very, very proud and happy to be part of Central Park. Other than that, I think the project is the type of construction and the architect and contractor we're working with are well known to us. We built this essentially the same type of project and development program with the same architect, and we've worked with, that's KTGY. Here in Denver, and we've worked with the contractor Alliance Construction and are currently building a project with them in the Fitzsimmons neighborhood at Peoria and Colfax. So we're very familiar with our design and construction team, and I think our costs are in good shape as much as they ever can be till you build it, but we've been very close to it now, and this is a building we know well. So with that, I think I'll turn it back to you all, and I'm be happy to answer any questions. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Thank you, George. Appreciate that presentation. Do we have any questions from the board? George, can you talk a little bit about the IDF CMF funds, the federal funds that are pending? What is the conversation surrounding that funding source? How concerned are you, and how would you fill that gap if they didn't come in?
Would you like me to take?
Yeah, go ahead, Adam.
Sure. Yeah, this is Adam Morgan. I'm the consultant on that project. We're planning to utilize a second mortgage with IDF, $409,000. Indications are that's still going to be there. I know is some concerns about future fundings for CMF, but I believe we're already in that pipeline. There is, it's not, I mean, while it's important, it's not a huge part of the capital stack, so we could defer additional developer fee if for some reason those funds did not materialize.
That's what I was hoping you would say. Thank you, Adam. Ryan?
Yeah, thank you, Adam and George. Just super fast. I see the state credit pricing at 92 cents. That's pretty impressive. I'm sure it's had some sort of blended program there with the federal. Just wanted to confirm that.
Yes, yeah, good question. That is a little outside the norm. Yeah, there was a blended investment of the federal and state credits, and our investor, KeyBank, on this project preferred to price them as such. But those are correct. Yeah.
Sounds good. Thank you.
They're paired together, so it's a combined deal. But yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, 3 Mile Mobile Home Park Preservation Project, presenting is James Russell.
Hello, State Housing Board, and welcome everyone on the line to the 3 Mile Mobile Home Park. When longtime resident-friendly landlord of 3 Mile Mobile Home Park passed away in 2021, the residents were faced with a significant challenge. Their homes, which had been managed by a local philanthropist for the past 40 years, was now up for sale, leaving residents with limited time, opportunity, and options. In 2022, the Roaring Fork Community Development Corporation, an ally in the region's community development space, stepped in to support the residents by working to secure funding for the park's purchase. Just a year later, in 2023, the park was successfully acquired for $2.4 million, and it was primarily funded through donations, grants, and loans. Today, 3 Mile is seeking $935,000 in Prop 123 funding from the Division of Housing for park rehabilitation. These funds would be allocated to the construction of a pedestrian and vehicular bridge, as well as much needed updates to the water and wastewater systems. Thanks to a strong support network of lenders, stakeholders, residents, DOH staff is proud to support a project where the community members rally together to save their homes. Today, I'm joined with County Commissioner and RFCDC Executive Director Kelly McNichols Curry, some members of their board, their development team, resident community members, and Erica Madison, IDF's Chief Lending Officer. And truly, this is their story. Kelly, would you like to take it away?
I would, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Well, thank you for considering our application today. As James said, I'm the Executive Director for the Roaring Fork Community Development Corporation, which I will call the CDC. As demonstrated by our market study, there is a great need for mobile home park housing and diminishing availability of naturally occurring affordable housing in our whole region. The 20 units in the 3 Mile Mobile Home Park community are composed of families, veterans, and local workers in the service, construction, and education sectors. Our vision for 3 Mile Mobile Home Park is a 3-phased bridge to ownership. The first phase was our purchase of the park from friendly sellers who had hoped to see it preserved. However, the sale was only offered in an as-is condition, and as with many mobile home parks, it had decades of deferred maintenance that had kept the rents low. IDF became our incredible lending partner in loaning us the money to close on the sale. Now we're in the second phase of the bridge to ownership, and that will bring the infrastructure up to current health and safety standards and also strengthen the capacity of the residents to become owners. All the systems of the park require updates. We need to prevent future flooding through mitigation, to replace the aging vehicle and pedestrian bridges that provide critical access for residents and fire prevention, and improve our aged sewer and water delivery systems. We're also focused on preparing the residents to become owners of the park and implement healthy self-governance. We've done this through providing community organizing, financial and legal training, and we believe that a healthy community and healthy assets will serve as the foundation for successful resident ownership. Our efforts to fund all the infrastructure improvements through gifts and grants is so that we may preserve the residents' financing strength and their opportunities so they may purchase the park. Selling the park to them is our third and final phase to our bridge to ownership. We will execute this sale in the next 3 years before our IDF loan term matures, and we are continuing to develop intensive financial training in the second half of this year and working with IDF on developing potential pro formas for the sale. We anticipate that the CDC will subsidize a portion of the sale of the park to the residents, and we've identified a number of funding partners to assist with this buy down. It's critical that we bring the park up to current life safety standards before we can attract financing for the residents' purchase. And your support today is an essential component to this multi-phase plan for achieving our bridge to ownership. We have an incredible team to support our achievements. Our board chair worked with Thistle and ran the Gunnison County Housing Authority. Our treasurer worked at Rock Capital for years and is now at Chaffa. We have a development team with significant experience in affordable housing projects, mobile home park, water and sewer systems, and construction project management. And we've developed significant support locally, regionally, and around the state for our approach and our project. We gained critical support from the Garfield County Commissioners when the residents made a plea to them to opt into Prop 123. They've also approved our floodplain permit and submitted a letter of support for the project. We received support from Pickens County Healthy Rivers Program, the Colorado River Basin Roundtable, our local wildfire collaborative, our regional housing coalition, and local community foundation. And at the state level, we've received support from Chaffa, Thistle, and the Colorado Water Conservation Board. There are many in our community and region that are rooting for our success at 3 Mile, and we would very much appreciate your consideration of support as well. And I'd like to go ahead and turn this over to two of our residents here who've joined us today. And these are some of our residents leaders. Our first one here is Tony O'Rourke.
Okay. Hi, my name's Tony O'Rourke and I live in the park. Thank you very much for allowing us to voice our support for this grant request. I wouldn't be able to live in the area if it wasn't for this, for the trailer park and the possibility of owning our own land along with everybody else in the park. And I've been living there since the late 70s. So we're an integral part of the valley. For us to get kicked out and shoved down valley, it's not good for the community itself or the valley. As you know, there's a lot of trailer parks around the state that are getting bought up by developers, and they're either kicking people out or they're jacking up the rent to the point where these people can't even afford it. So we want to keep it affordable. And until we own the park, we're just going to feel insecure about our housing situation. Yeah, so like Kelly said, we have a lot of significant repairs that we need to take care of. And we have to get that all done. And then we have to show that we can govern ourselves, which we can. And so then lenders will look at us and say that we can handle the situation and we can maintain our park well. And the Roaring Fork CDC is trying to do the right thing by helping us out by doing that. And we're just very grateful to the county commissioners and agreeing to our request to opt in to Prop 123 and for approving the permits to do the work. So just thank you very much for giving us a chance to do this.
And if I can, I'd like to invite Gabby Jimenez to come on and speak as well.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So my name is Gabby Jimenez. I've been a resident in the park for 24 years. I serve as the secretary on the resident cooperative board. Along with the rest of the community, we have worked to create not only a community, but a cooperative needed to function. Other members of the board and I have walked to each home to inform residents about meetings and to listen to their concerns and their needs. The residents have dedicated countless hours to ensure the Roaring Fork CDC has what they need to help us save our community and our homes. The Roaring Fork CDC has also worked tirelessly with us to help us get funding while also maintaining the integrity of the community and our members. I recently finished one of the many training sessions to be able to help other communities as well as ours through communication and outreach. And this is just one of many things that they have provided us to prepare us for when we own it. I have been very fortunate to grow up and live in such a beautiful area. I work within the community as a teacher and as a bartender. My family is here and I would love to continue living here. To being able to stay within the community would mean the world to me. However, the financial hardship of such an expensive area is hard not only on me, but others. This money would not only help save 20 families, but it would also save bedrock workers who have helped not only the town, but the Roaring Fork Valley function. Thank you for your time and thank you for your consideration.
Wow, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, State Housing Board. Do you have any questions?
Any questions from the board? Nancy.
Thank you. So a comment and then a question. I think projects like this are great to take something and improve it like this so that you all can live there in safety and peace. I think it's a terrific project. A lot of your funding is from gifts and donations. Is that correct? And if so, how does that work?
So we have a combination of grants that we've received from other government organizations, as well as some funding that we have received through, the CDC, which raises its own philanthropy as the guarantor of this project. So for example, we received almost $700,000 from the Colorado Water Conservation Board that will cover the bank stabilization and floodplain mitigation portion of this project as well. And we received some money from Pickens County Healthy Rivers and Streams that helped with some of the engineering and design costs relative to that type of work. Then we also have, received some different contributions to offset the infrastructure costs. And again, the goal there is so that the residents don't have to take on loans for the infrastructure. They can preserve their, lending capacity for when they purchase the park.
Thank you. And you don't anticipate any problems given the, let's just call it budget cuts, both real and threatened?
No, we don't. We've already received approvals for those funds that I've mentioned.
Well, thank you and best of luck.
And nice to see you. Thank you.
Any other questions? Kelly, I have a question. This might be best answered by you since you're representing RFCDC. The balloon payment that is due of almost $2 million in 2028, in the event that the resident-owned community is not prepared at that time to purchase the park, maybe they need additional time, is RFCDC prepared to step in and handle the refinance at that time to buy them some more time?
We are.
Excellent. Thank you. These deals are not easy, and it looks like you've really put together a lot of good sources. So thank you for your work. All right, hearing no other questions, we'll move on to the next deal. Fillmore Duplexes, and presenting is Jill Pavelis.
All right, get my camera on here. Hi there, I'm one of the newer housing development specialists covering Denver County, Arapahoe, Douglas, and Elbert. So we'll talk about the Fillmore Duplexes. This is, the applicant is GES Coalition and developers Habitat for Humanity. We're recommending $308,000 using Prop 123 funds, and this is for land acquisition. There's actual 4 small parcels that make this up. So this is 2 duplexes for a total of 4 units and 3-bed, 2-bath each. And this is in the Globeville neighborhood, about 6 blocks from the A-Line commuter train. So lots of development going on in that area right now. These are 80% AMI units as well. And there was an old residence that was demolished, and they've gone through the phase 1 and phase 2 process of getting everything ready for construction here. So for home ownership, if I didn't mention that. So here to talk a little bit more about it is Nola Miguel.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Nola Miguel. I'm the executive director of the GES Coalition and Tierra Colectiva Community Land Trust, which means collective land in Spanish. And the GES Coalition formed in 2015, and we are and were an anti-displacement movement in the Global Elyria Swansea neighborhoods. That's GES, Global Elyria Swansea, the 80216 zip code. And that's how we started. And in 2017, we did a survey to see how much displacement was happening in the neighborhoods and found that 88%, so 9 out of 10 neighbors were at risk of displacement, and realized that we needed to take pretty swift action, and did a lot of research around community land trusts and formed a community land trust just specifically for Globeville, Elyria, and Swansea neighborhoods. We originally incubated under the Colorado Community Land Trust, and have worked with Brothers Redevelopment, and I should say Jeff Martinez is here from Brothers Redevelopment, who's the current owner of the land, and Corey Whitaker is here from Habitat for Humanity Denver, if there's any questions for either of them. Also, Danny Slaybaugh from our new real estate director, who we just hired less than a month ago, is also here as well. So our story is really from the neighborhood, out of needs of displacement. Our land trust emerged. And this project specifically will be number 16, 17, 18, and 19 in our community land trust. And they're 3-bedroom, it's 2 duplex buildings, two duplexes, 4 units. They're 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. We really found that we need larger units for families. Right now in our existing 15 units, we're housing over 55 people, and half of those are children. So we have a lot of large families that needs the greater amount of bedrooms. So this is in South Swansea, the south part of the Swansea neighborhood, very close to Bruce Randolph School that I used to work at, a couple of decades ago. And we're very, very excited about this opportunity. We sell our homes. We ideally get below 60% AMI, but in order to meet displacement, we really sell our homes right around 60% of the AMI. And we have a wait list that is constantly growing, and have folks that are pre-qualified and ready to buy these homes and very excited to buy these homes. And please let me know if you have any other questions.
Thank you, Noah and Joel. Any questions from the board? LaDawn?
I have a general question about Habitat for Humanity. Are the homes deed restricted, so they make sure that how do you make sure that they stay?
We're a community land trust, so we have a land lease, a 99-year land lease that's renewable every 65 years. So, they're in perpetual affordability under the and have a resale restriction.
Okay, and is that with all Habitat homes, or just this particular project?
I would let Corey answer that one. And I know they have some that are long-term affordability and some that are going into their land trust. Yeah, there he is.
Okay. Hi, this is Corey Whitaker with Habitat for Humanity. So this is a partnership with GES. So Habitat for Humanity has a land trust, Colorado Community Land Trust, and that land trust is incubating GES Coalition. So these homes will go into that land trust. Habitat has 2 mechanisms for long-term affordability. One's the land trust, and another is a long-term covenant, a 90-year covenant. So these ones will be using the land trust model.
Thanks, Corey.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about how much the homes will be offered, like what the listing prices will be and how much of a discount that is to market?
We haven't set the final price point, but we usually sell around 225,000. That was at least our last homes that were very similar to this, the Josephine townhomes. These homes are appraised at 570,000 each. So it's, significantly less than the market rate value.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, thank you for your presentation today. And I noticed this might be more of a comment for Teresa or DOH staff, but on the agenda, it looks like Summit at Granby was before Fillmore duplexes. Are we skipping that one?
Noted. We actually have some team availability on that one, so requested that it move to the end. So apologies for the last minute shuffle. That was made today, but we will get to it closer to the end of the presentation.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks for that, Teresa. Next up is Chrysalis Apartments, and presenting with Joe Pavelis.
Okay, just a brief introduction here to the Chrysalis Apartments project. This is Empowerment Program as the applicant and developer. This will be new construction, 70 units in the City Park West neighborhood. And we're recommending $4.2 million of Prop 123 funds. That comes out to $60,000 per unit. And this is for permanent supportive housing project at 30% AMI. Empowerment Program has over 30 years of experience providing harm reduction services, including behavioral health, employment services, education, and support groups. And here to talk a little bit more about it is Julie Keel and Ken Hoagland.
Hi, thank you. I'm Julie Keel. I'm the Executive Director at the Empowerment Program. Per MDHI's 2024 point-in-time survey, almost 10,000 people were counted as experiencing homelessness in the Denver metro area, which was a 10% increase from last year's point-in-time count. And 6,000 people, or 65% of those counted, were in the city and county of Denver. So to help meet the critical need for low-income housing in Denver, Chrysalis Apartments will be a newly constructed apartment building on the site of our former Bainbridge Apartments at 18th and Franklin Street. The existing building and adjacent duplex will be demolished and replaced with a new 7-story trauma-informed design building that will include 70 units to serve as permanent supportive housing for empowerment participants, as well as individuals referred from the One Home Coordinated Entry System. All tenants will be provided with project-based vouchers specific to adults experiencing homelessness with a disabling condition. Replacing our 100-year-old Bainbridge Apartments with Chrysalis Apartments will not only mean an additional 55 units of low-income housing, it will also mean new electrical and plumbing systems, as well as a trauma-informed design that allows for staff and services on site, which is needed to most effectively meet the needs of the residents. A small garden and meditation space is planned for outdoors, and the kitchen adjacent to the community living room will be an exact duplicate of unit kitchens, so it can serve multiple purposes of a demonstration and training kitchen, as well as a staff break area and as support for tenant events. Empowerment will work closely with Ross Property Management to help residents maintain their housing and thrive while using housing first and trauma-informed philosophies. Every resident will be offered intensive care management using a holistic approach where many types of treatment are available to meet the individual needs of each resident. And I'll turn it over to Ken.
Hi, I'm Ken Hoagland. I'm chairman of the board of the Empowerment Program. I've been involved with affordable housing for a number of years. I want to give a little bit of an update of sort of where we're at in our development process. We have firm commitments from our equity investors who are Enterprise for the federal credits and Sugar Creek for the state credits. We have a firm commitment from Denver. In fact, the city council approved this project on April 28th. Chaffa has completed its preliminary underwriting for the first mortgage and is in the process of finishing their NEPA review, which we anticipate will happen near the end of June. All of this, and the last point is our contractor has final costs nailed down, and this is probably, in light of the current circumstances in the economy, fairly important. They are currently buying out with all of their subcontractors and anticipate that by the time we get through the end of June, they should have all of those completely nailed down. Their construction term, they will then begin their process of demolition and abatement so that we can close, we hope, near the end of August or early September. And following that, it'll be a 14-month construction period by Pinker. Any questions? We'd be happy to answer.
Brian Moses.
No, thanks, Cynthia, and thank you for that outstanding presentation. Just a few questions with regard to not only the population you serve, but more specifically how folks can, how you select the residents that will occupy these units. So that's the first question. How do you select the residents? Because I do realize that you good folks remove a lot of barriers to entry into housing. Then you also mentioned in your presentation that you provide individualized or individually tailored access to resources, whether it's behavioral health, so on and so forth. And so my second question is, how do you resource that? Is that something that is done internally, and are those assets available on a 24/7 basis inside of the residential area, so that in the event, hypothetically, someone had an occurrence of psychosis or some type of breakdown, that they could reach out to receive the intercession that they needed from a behavioral health perspective? So if you could please just kind of add a little bit more fidelity in terms of how you select your future residents, and then the execution, how those things are executed. But thanks a lot.
Yeah, of course. So the tenant selection plan, and we have a basic tenant selection plan, but closer to the end, closer to getting folks in, it'll be finalized and approved by the state. But the tenant selection plan involves half of the residents will come from MDHI, the One Home Coordinated Entry System. So they will be referred through that based on our tenant selection plan. And then the other half will be referrals, either individuals who are currently enrolled and engaged in services at Empowerment and experiencing homelessness and meeting the other eligibility criteria, which is mainly having a disabling condition. Or maybe they're engaged in services at Empowerment, but also engaged with services at Denver Health, or one of the many places that we collaborate with. Like, for example, our last property, we received referrals from a variety of partners, including like probation department, Denver Health again, because that building is located in Commerce City. We work closely with an agency who works with individuals experiencing homelessness in Commerce City. So that's how it will be that's filled. As far as services, yes, to answer one of your questions, yes, residents will have access to services 24/7. There will be staff on site. A lot of the services are provided internally, but certainly we can't meet all of the needs with the internal peer services. So a lot of what the peer specialists do to help individuals maintain their housing, because that's the big goal is, let's create a safe community and let's maintain our housing. So there are lots of external referrals made as well, whether that be to, math services, substance use disorder services, more intensive therapy services, additional career services. So yeah, big combination of internal services and definitely access to those crisis intervention services 24/7, and then lots of external referrals as well.
No, thank you for providing some additional insights and context to that. From where I sit, it seems like at a minimum that would be a good proof of concept for the state to maybe see if that could be expanded. I mean, I'm not sure how long you good folks have actually been doing this, but just from where I sit, and I'm here in El Paso County in Colorado Springs, and so I just think that would be, I think that's I think it's a fantastic proof of concept that you've got, and I'd be interested maybe offline at some point reaching out to you to get a few more specifics as to exactly how that's been established, how you execute that, your resourcing strategy, so on and so forth. So from a policy entrepreneurship perspective, not only is it something that I can work with the experts there in DOLA, but then also see if that could be, illuminated and implemented elsewhere. So thank you for your time, consideration, as well as the great efforts that you good folks are doing.
Of course, my pleasure.
Did we have a hand raised here for a second?
And apologies,
I'm
that was
sorry.
Zach Schaffner with the Office of Homeless Initiatives. I'm happy to help connect on that, as we do have common supportive housing services standards for all of our permanent supportive housing developments around client to case management ratios, as well as supportive services funding. So happy to help connect those dots.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
And Ken, did you have a comment?
No, I was going to make sure that Zach got a chance to talk about that, because a lot of the support for this project is coming through Zach's office over at DOLA.
Great. And I had a question on the services too. Are the services included as an expense to the project, or are they being funded outside of the NOI?
There's a separate budget for them, part of which is funded through Zach's office, part of which will be funded through Medicaid billing of the residents who are eligible for that, and part of it is coming from within Empowerment, which serves about 3,000 clients a year who come through jails or off the street or whatever, and are made housing ready, and that's how the referrals will come to this. And then there's one last piece of where this money is coming from.
You just muted yourself, Ken.
I'm sorry. One of the things that Chaffa has done is include a 5% bump in the developer fee, which then can be used to supplement the services that are available in a PSH project.
Okay, that's all helpful detail. Thank you. If I could ask the DOH staff on permanent supportive housing deals, if we could get a breakdown on the services and just how they're being expensed going forward, specifically, on a deal like this, just making sure that there are enough funds if it's being funded by grants for at least several years. Wayne?
Yes, and we do have inside the budget spreadsheet, we have a tab that specifically is called the services contribution tab. And that basically takes the summary of all the costs of the services which are identified by Zach's team. And then within our spreadsheet in that tab, it basically takes those costs, inflates them by every year by 3%. And then also takes the sources used to fund those services. That includes Medicaid, fundraising, any sources that are used to support this, and it lays it out. And then also finally, it identifies the amount of cash flow that's available from the pro forma, so it's tied into that tab. So essentially what it allows you to do is a 15-year look at the pro forma for a PSH project.
Yeah, I'd love to see that. We've got the one we have in our package. This shows the annual expenses as a lump sum with nothing broken out.
Right, that's a tab that we can present that to you. It's already in there spreadsheet.
On PSH deals going forward, it's fantastic. Thank you for that. Okay, sorry to take up some time here. Moving on to the next project. And thank you for that great presentation on Chrysalis. BV Crossing presenting is Evan Samaro.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here today. The Chafee Housing Trust is requesting $1,078,000 in Proposition 123 funding to support the construction of the BV Crossing, which is a 14-unit home ownership project serving households at or below 100% AMI in Buena Vista. BV Crossing was underwritten by Ashley Hertzler. The BV Crossing is the first phase of a larger subdivision called The Crossing, which is planned to be a mixed income development. This is an important project for the community, due in part being that the median home sales price in Chaffee County was identified to be $697,000 in the market study, and the median sales price in April was $799,000. This is simply out of reach for many people who are seeking home ownership in the area. With us today is Reed McCullough, the Executive Director of the Chafee Housing Trust, and Paul Andrews, the Managing Partner of the Crossman's Development Ltd., the developer of the crossing. I will pass this on to Reed.
Well, thank you, Evan. So the Chafee Housing Trust is a community land trust which provides shared equity home ownership to low-income households in Chaffee and Lake counties. And what we've learned is that partnering with local developers is a critical means for us to scale production so that we can meet the housing crisis in our rural community. Home prices, through working with Paul, this golden opportunity provides us home prices, including 1-bedroom units at $280,000, 2-bedroom units at $360,000, and 3-bedroom units at $410,000. So as Evan mentioned, these are about half to a third of the current market prices. And historically, the folks that we've been serving are teachers, town employees, local police, healthcare service providers, and service industry workers. You can go down the list of all the essential people in our local economy who are currently priced out of the market. This is really their only opportunity to attain home ownership. And with that, I'll pass it on to Paul.
Thank you, Reed. The Crossing's a 16-acre residential development within the town of Buena Vista. By partnering with the CHT and the Chafee Housing Authority, we've been able to commit that 50% of the 114 homes in the first phase of this project will be permanently affordable. The first homes that we will be building are these 14 homes for the CHT. Community support for our project's been really positive. Any neighbors who spoke at our public meetings expressed their support, and when we renamed the streets after town founders such as teachers, police officers, and railroaders, it was really well received. Because of our 50% commitment to affordability, the project was awarded a $2 million More Housing Now grant and a $3 million loan under the THLF loan program. These funds have made it possible to install the public infrastructure. This work is now well underway and will enable us to deliver these 14 homes for the CHT by the end of this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Reed and Paul. Do we have any questions from the board? I've got a question. This might be more for Evan. It looks like we have almost 10 deals here that are noted as being received by the applicant sponsor or developer. Are they mainly Chafee Housing Trust funds that have been allocated on other deals that they have? Are they active? I'm just curious how much Chafee Housing Trust or Crossing Development have actively under construction right now. What in terms of, do they have the capacity for everything? Have we had any, has the state had any issues with any of the funding on any of the deals that have already been allocated?
So there are a couple aspects to that list. This list includes awards provided to the Chafee Housing Trust, and then also other projects in which the special limited partnership between the Housing Trust and the Housing Authority have been the owner, and then also projects with the Housing Authority. And we included that because of that SLP with the LLC. So not all of these are Chafee Housing Trust. Examples, the Crossing, the THLF loan that was provided to Paul Andrews. 505 Apartments acquisition was Chafee Housing Authority.
Okay, that's helpful. So it's not all of these are not all being done by Crossman. And maybe a question for Crossman is, how many active developments do you have going on right now in Chafee?
This is it. This is our life. It's super important, and it's plenty for us.
Okay, wonderful. Good to hear. And the need is big, so appreciate the work. Any other questions from the board? All right, hearing none. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the Stables, and presenting Evan Samora.
All right, pleasure to be here again to present the Stables. Grovewood Community Development Incorporated is requesting $1 million in HTF funding to support the construction of the Stables, which is a 4% low-income housing tax credit and state tax credit development located in Aurora, consisting of 85 units serving households with incomes between 30 and 80% AMI. The Stables was underwritten by Andrew Stackhouse. The Stables is the first phase of a two-phase development, which will provide multifamily housing, and the second phase will provide 49 units of senior housing. The stables is located on the site of the former Aurora Stables, a horse boarding facility built in 1947 and closed in 2023. The redevelopment of this property provides a unique opportunity to infill the site, which much needed affordable housing in Central Aurora. Joining us today is Joellen Davidson, the Executive Director of Grovewood Community Development, and Julie Hobel, the Director of Real Estate for Grovewood Community Development. I'll pass it to you, Joe.
Thanks so much, Evan, and greetings to all board members. I enjoyed the days when we got to come sit in the same room with you and hear about all the great projects. So good to see you all. Thank you for being a strong supporter for our organization. I am the Executive Director of Grovewood Community Development, formerly Community Housing Development Association. You all have supported our projects since our inception. We have 11 properties. We're formed in 1995. You funded our first project, Willow Street Residences. In 1998, the most recent project that you funded for us, happily I would say, is our 81-unit Sapling Grove Apartments, which we just completed construction on at the end of the year, and on time, on budget. Happy to say that we had over 350 interested parties. And as of today, knock wood, I believe the project is 100% leased. And so that speaks to the demand for this type of project. This stables is similarly structured to the Sapling Grove properties or apartments with a 30 to 80% AMI. So we're very confident going into this project that there is similar demand. Our vision for the project is, consistent with the balance of our portfolio to create quality, affordable, service-enriched housing and amenity spaces in 2 phases that optimize both healthy lifestyle practices and active engagement with nature. This site is uniquely located just south of Exposition Park. Looking to the east, there's an open playing field that is adjacent to a Highline Elementary community school. And, the Highline Canal Trail runs adjacent to it. We feel like we are stewards of this extraordinarily unique infill development site. The owners of the former site chose us over 5 market rate buyers. And so we have met with very strong support early and consistently from the county with funds to buy the site, the city to buy the site. And we completed rezoning in June 2024 with strong support of city leadership and from the community, from the school systems. We march off to the Planning Commission tomorrow evening with the site development plan. We're working with a number of interested investors on our tax credits, very close to finalizing that, and our lenders. So we have an extraordinary development team that have successfully done a number of affordable housing projects in the past. The architects, the contractors, the financial consultants. So we are happy and proud to provide this or present this project to you for funding. I'm happy to answer questions. Staff has been extraordinary. We've gone through really extensive underwriting on the project. So working hard to get this closed by the end of the year and start construction and deliver these units in 2027.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Joellen. Do we have any questions from the board? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Next
folks.
up is Compass Point, and presenting is Erin McNabb.
Good afternoon. Kittle Property Group is requesting $2 million in CHIF loan to build Compass Point, a 192-unit rental project in Pueblo, ranging from 30% to 80% AMI. The City of Pueblo is supporting this project with a Home Funds Award that exceeds their standard contribution to projects, as well as waiving permit fees, which has not been a practice that the city has historically engaged in. Presenting today will be Brenda Haddad, the Director of Development for Kittle Property Group. Brenda?
Thanks, Erin. I appreciate you all having me today. Kittle Property Group was founded in 1946 and has evolved into one of the top developers in the country with a presence in 18 states. Compass Point will be our second development in Colorado, our first with DOLA. With our first development in Idaho Springs being a great success for that city, another community that was underserved in the affordable housing realm. As you know, access to quality affordable housing is key to reducing intergenerational poverty. And Kittle Property Group takes this mission seriously. We propose to provide homes that have amenities that cater to family needs, 192 units serving 30 to 80% AMI. And Compass Point offers an important step on the housing ladder, which is missing for many in Pueblo. Stephen Trujillo, the executive director of the Housing Authority of Pueblo, has said his primary purpose in forming a partnership with KPG is to free up subsidized housing inventory for those most in need. Pueblo County is projected to need nearly 10,000 housing units over the next 10 years. Housing supply has fallen significantly short of population growth, particularly in multifamily construction and for households below 80% AMI. More than half of renters in Pueblo County are cost burdened, and the Housing Authority has a wait list of more than 2,000 families, up 35% from the prior year. This need led to an incredible partnership with the mayor, city council, city staff, the Housing Authority, United Way of Pueblo, Chamber of Commerce, YWCA, County Council, County Commission on Homelessness, Housing and Homelessness, and members of the Eastwood neighborhood where this development will be. Throughout the process, feedback has helped to inform the project design and financing strategies, as well as gathered encouragement and tangible support for the project, including the financing commitments that Erin referenced. The City of Pueblo's new financial empowerment classes, in conjunction with United Way, will be based out of Compass Point as the city's east side operation. The YWCA will be offering parenting classes to those in need. And the industrial park on the far east side of Pueblo will have affordable homes to offer for workers of industry investing in Pueblo, something that has really been a barrier to bringing new industry into Pueblo in recent years. It's critical that we invest in this community by providing the largest light tech development in Pueblo and providing units that will address the needs of this missing middle, which is a first for this area. Given the lack of housing supply in general, this development is one of the city's most significant opportunities to increase affordable housing supply in the future. And I thank you for your consideration to bring this to Pueblo. And I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Brenda and Erin. Any questions from the board? Okay. Hearing none. Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you.
Next up, Calvary Flats. Presenting is Pam Gibson.
Yes, hello. Thank you. I'm pleased to present Calvary Flats, Habitat for Humanity of Metro Denver's first development in the city of Golden. They are partnered with Shanahan Development. The 40-unit condominium building is located on an infill site adjacent to the Colorado School of Mines in central Golden. Home prices will range from $220,000 for a one-bedroom unit to $260,000 for a two-bedroom unit, with an average affordability at 71% of area median income. Affordability is maintained through a 99-year renewable land lease with the Colorado Community Land Trust, and the build time is expected to be 1 year. The market study shows that 95% of Golden's workforce are in commuters. This development will provide centrally located housing options for local workers and families. With Lisa Blakeney as the underwriter, the Division of Housing is recommending full funding of $3,080,000 in Proposition 123 funds. And our presenters today are Corey Whitaker with Habitat for Humanity and Jeff Shanahan with Shanahan Development.
Thank you, Pam. My name is Corey Whitaker. I'm the Vice President of Housing Programs with Habitat for Humanity of Metro Denver. I'll start talking a little bit about Habitat and then pass it over to Jeff to talk about the project. So Habitat brings people together to build homes, communities, and hope. We were founded in 1979 in Denver, and in that time, we've built and renovated over 1,000 homes in the Denver metro area. We primarily serve households making below 80% of their area median income and focus on providing them stability and equity building through homeownership. In the last 10 years, Habitat Denver has prioritized ensuring that all new sales incorporate long-term affordability. As I talked about previously in that other project, we have two mechanisms in which we can ensure affordability, and we currently have over 450 properties across the metro area that are under long-term affordability. Of the 1,000 homes that Habitat has built and renovated, only 2 of those homes have been built in Golden. And so we're very excited about this opportunity to provide people with long-term affordable homeownership solutions in Denver. And I'll pass it over to Jeff to talk about the project a little bit more.
Thanks, Corey. Thanks, Pam. So I'm Jeff Shanahan with Shanahan Development. I've been working on doing affordable condo developments in the Front Range for the past 5 years. This will be my 4th condo project in the Front Range, the first one outside of Denver. So pretty excited about working in Golden. I think this project, just a high level, lot of partnerships to bring this project to fruition. The site is currently owned by the Calvary Church in Golden, and they're selling it to the project well below market. And they're very excited to help out with this project. Also, right next to the project was a 60-foot right-of-way for a future street in the city of Golden, which would never come to fruition because it's too steep of a grade. And so the city offered to vacate the right-of-way, which gave us another 60 feet of street frontage. And then the Colorado School of Mines typically would get half of that vacation, but donated it to the project too, so that we could get some more units. And that's just a couple of the things that the city of Golden's doing to help bring this project to fruition on a very tight site, but in a phenomenal location. Oh yeah. Questions?
Great. Thank you for the presentation. Do we have any questions from the board? Corey, you mentioned that there are 1,000 units that have been developed by Habitat for Humanity of Metro Denver. Of those, I'm curious, how many do you have existing or on the market today considered vacant units, and how quickly do you anticipate these will be absorbed?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think earlier this year we did have a point where we did have quite a bit of vacancies and have been utilizing some different strategies to work through that. So currently, I would say we have about 10 to 12 projects, units that we're selling, and we expect those to be selected for home buyers within the next month or two. We kind of have an ongoing basis. With this one, we do have some holding costs for absorption worked into our pro forma. So I believe that we have about a 4 to 6 month absorption rate for these condos.
Do you have any type of waiting list as well?
So what we will do with these, we'll start an interest list for these. We'll start marketing them. We'll have people get pre-approved to get on that interest list, so that when they are and kind of pre-sold, so that when they are completed, we can move fast to get them sold, get them selected and sold.
Okay, great. Thanks, Corey. And Jeff, you work often with Elevation Community Land Trust as well. How many active projects do you have going on right now, and how many units does that equate to?
I'm under construction on one other project with Elevation. That's 62 residential units and 1 commercial unit. So 63 units. And then I have another one that just started planning last week. So it's pretty far out, but that's another 70 units.
So you don't have any, or do you have any that are currently listed for sale?
The Burrell
That's it.
3575 Chestnut Elevation is currently selling those units.
Can you give us an update on how those units are being accepted into the marketplace?
Yeah, it's going slower than we had anticipated. There's a couple of factors, and I think overall, just home sales are slow. I've talked to a couple of brokerage firms, and this was their worst April ever for sales. But I think, especially in the affordable home ownership, there's a lot of uncertainty in the economy right now, and so a lot of people are trying to stay flexible in what they can do. So that I don't have any reason. I don't know why, but it has been slow. But I think that's market rate units too, not just for sale affordable.
Yeah. No.
Yeah,
I
my
agree.
worst Q4 and Q1 ever. So
Yeah.
I concur. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the argument then for the need?
Well, these are in Golden, and I think Golden. So the appraisal or the market study we did in Golden, these units appraised above $500,000. And Golden's a much smaller community with less land to develop. They're the South Table, North Table on the east side, the foothills on the west side. They're just severely restricted in land and what they can do. And so these units are, at this price point in Golden, is very desirable. The location is literally is half a block from Main Street. And as Pam mentioned, 95% of the people that work in Golden commute to Golden.
I think the other thing I'll add is you noticed our price points, 220, 260. Those are pretty low in terms of sale price points for 1 and 2 bedroom, especially compared to some other projects. And so we're really trying to look at that and mitigate that risk and make them accessible to people under 70%. So, on the Habitat front, what we see is oftentimes it's DTI or credit scores that are causing people to not qualify. So it's not that the need is not there. It's that people are maybe not in a position to access that housing. And so that's where we come in and we help people. We coach them and we work with them to get into a position where they can afford, they can access that home ownership.
All good points. Thank you for adding that.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments from the board?
This is LaDawn. I would just say that the west side is still really hot. The market is. Things on the west side of town are selling quickly with multiple offers many times. So I think there is a need people wanting to live over here.
Thanks for that, LaDawn. Great. Thank you, Corey and Jeff and Pamela.
Thank you.
Next up, Swiss Village MHP, and presenting is Shirley Diaz.
Good afternoon. I'm very happy to present the Swiss Village Cooperative requesting $880,000 to help them acquire their mobile home community as a resident-owned community. The funding request represents a low-interest Prop 123 AHOP loan for 16 of 21 qualified homes. The community response and support includes the local governments, local donors, and a local couple providing funding to purchase the current park owner's home for sale, so that the ROC can then resell the home and keep the proceeds of the sale to utilize as needed in the future. The project construction assessment being required in the conditions has been submitted, and there were no significant issues reported. The underwriter on this project is Ashley Hertzler, and joining us today is Adam Coons, a resident and board member. And speaking on behalf of the residents is Ben Moore, the ROC Special Project Manager with Bissell Community Housing.
Thanks, Shirley. Thanks everybody for the opportunity to discuss this project on behalf of the Swiss Village Co-op. My name is Ben. I work for Thistle Community Housing. We provide technical assistance across the state for the formation of resident-owned cooperatives and help them work through the acquisition process through this cooperative ownership structure that we have been working on for almost the last decade, since 2017. So thanks to Shirley and for everyone else at DOLA for the dedicated work that has gone into this. These are interesting acquisitions. They're a little different than I think people usually see. So we really appreciate the dedicated time that was put into getting us to the point that we are now. So I've had the pleasure of working with the Swiss Village Co-op for the last year, and it's really an exceptional group of homeowners and board members in what is such a cool little community there in beautiful Ouray. I think Shirley went over a lot of those important points. I have three things that I want to point out that I think are important and are interesting and important to emphasize with this project. First is the inherent sustainability of this model that we implement. Again, we've done this 13 times across the state, and we see it as an effective and efficient way of utilizing these types of funds in preserving homes that have been naturally occurring sources of affordable housing for many, many years. Second, we see this as particularly important in Ouray County. It's an area that has a housing deficit, like most of our expensive mountain communities do. And as a result, we see the preservation of this park, again, that has provided really important affordable housing for the community of Ouray for many years as an important step and opportunity. Lastly, we have a capital stack here that we've really never seen before. We have funds committed from the city of Ouray, from Ouray County. We hope that the state can cap that off with another level of government contributing. And we also have private donors who are routing funds through our friends and partners at Impact Development Fund. So the collective support here has been huge. It's been really interesting to work on. It's been great to see and play a small role in here at Thistle. So I'm going to pass it over to Adam, who is one of those residents and board members who has been essential to this process and the only reason that we are where we are now.
Hi guys, thanks for listening. My name's Adam Coons. I've lived in Ouray for 47 years. Been in Swiss Village since 2016. Got 4 amazing kids, 2 of which have moved on. I am the City of Ouray Fire Chief. I'm a local general contractor in the area. I spend my free time volunteering for organizations and events throughout the county. Without the DOLA funding we're asking for, it still keeps it possible to complete the acquisition, but not possible to maintain the affordability for the residents. It would force some of the residents to leave and find other means, which is nearly impossible in Ouray. I want to let you know about our small little community. Swiss Village is a smaller mobile home park. It runs about 800 feet down a city maintained dirt road. It's city maintained, so besides it being dirt, it's a great, pleasant area to be in. With close to 20 families residing there, we make it a point to be more than neighbors. Most of us have lived there long enough to call our next door neighbor family. The yards and homes are well maintained. We prefer to show off our little neighborhood to everyone driving by. The back of each property is up against the surrounding mountains of Ouray and makes our backyards a little getaway to enjoy. For all of us, we kind of call it home, but for the community, it's a really essential asset for Ouray. Most of us are or have been a huge part in helping Ouray thrive. Postal workers, teachers, sheriff's deputies, city, county employees, they've all lived there or live there now, let alone all the volunteer hours that everybody commits to the area. So I really want to thank you guys for all your help, and we hope to keep living in our beautiful little space. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adam, Benjamin, Shirley as well. Looks like a beautiful community. It looks like we have a question from Ryan Jones.
I think I heard you there. Is it okay to speak now?
Yes, please.
Okay, great. I saw in one of the conditions to funding the receipt of underground assessment of utility lines. Is what happens if it's not in good condition?
I can speak to that, Ryan. That was part of my intro, is that it
Oh,
is
right.
in.
Okay.
Yes, it's in, and there were no significant findings, no wrecks or anything in the updated.
Right.
So
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
you're welcome.
Anything else from the board? Okay, great. We're gonna move on to the next, which is Creekside Flats. And I want to note that it is 2:30. I apologize. It's like we're gonna be slightly over our time here. So we'll try and be quick and efficient with the last few. Creekside Flats presenting is Shirley Diaz.
So Creekside Flats, very happy to present this project as well. Creekside Flats is requesting an HDG grant in the amount of $1,950,000 for the new construction of 150 apartments along a transportation corridor in Lakewood. It is a 4% low-income housing tax credit and state tax credit project. Creekside Flats will be replacing a now demolished 63-unit apartment complex known as the Jody Apartments, or formerly known as the Jody Apartments, originally built in the 1960s. The apartments will serve many diverse populations, including offering apartments to teens transitioning out of homelessness. The new complex will provide on-site resources and services for tenants with needs from mental health to building wealth with a tenant rent equity program. The underwriter on this project is Sasha Neal, and joining us today from Archway Investment Corporation are Brandon Buse, Sarah Blanchard, and discussing the project is Laura Brodzinski, the president and CEO of Archway.
Thank you so much, Shirley, and thanks so much to the committee for this time today. I'm, as Shirley mentioned, Laura Brodzinski, President and CEO of Archway. You may be familiar with Archway as a nonprofit organization really based in Colorado. We've been doing this for about 50 years as a trusted industry leader, really developing affordable housing, preserving affordable housing, managing affordable housing, and providing services to residents all across our communities within the Denver metro area and across the Front Range. We are really excited to be bringing Creekside Flats forward to the committee today. As Shirley mentioned, it's 150 units, really at a transit-focused station area at the 10th and Sheridan site in Denver. It's right on the border with Lakewood, but it is within the city of Denver. As Shirley mentioned, this is it's really a preservation project as much as it is a new construction project, with the replacement and redevelopment of the former Jody Apartments, which really had fallen into disrepair and really was unsafe conditions for residents living within that property as well as in the surrounding area. We are excited to nearly triple the density at this site with the development of Creekside Flats to bring a mix of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom units. We're really excited to be serving a large number of families at this site with those larger bedroom units, ranging between 30 and 80% of the area median income, with about 15% of the units reserved for those earning below 30% of the area median income. This project is developed by Archway, but is really involving partnerships such as the architect on this, Shopworks, which really informed a trauma-informed design for this project with design elements that incorporated interviews with former residents and neighbors within the area and best practices in creating a trauma-informed safe community. So that focuses on connection, on choice, on safety, on comfort, and we've really woven that into the pre-construction steps, into the design of this, but also into the supports and programming that we're providing for residents once Creekside opens, as well as a partnership that we have with Newsed Development to focus really on robust renter readiness to help connect prospective renters to available units at this transit-oriented community. So we're really excited about bringing that additional programming as anti-displacement and support for residents within the West Denver area surrounding this project to be able to connect to these affordable homes as constructed. So we, as Shirley mentioned, have partnerships with Ardent Grove, Urban Peak, and Jovi as a pop-up childcare provider to really support the individuals and families that will live in Creekside Flats once it's opened up. So we want to thank you for the time today. We appreciate the staff recommendation for funding for this project, and we look forward to answering questions you may have for us about Creekside Flats.
Thank you so much, Laura. Do we have any questions from the board? Okay, hearing none. Let you off easy. Great project. Thank you.
Thank you for your support. We look forward to working with you.
Likewise. We're going to circle back to the summit at Granby, and presenting is James Russell.
Good afternoon, everyone. And since we're almost done for the day, I will do my best to make this presentation succinct. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today about the summit at Granby. This project represents a significant milestone and a promising future for the town. This development will deliver 66 new modular affordable units, the first of its kind using low-income housing tax credits in the area, and marks a critical step forward as it addresses the well-documented and growing housing shortage in Grand County. Granby is a small town facing an incredible housing challenge. Rents have surged recently, with nearly 80% of the current listings being out of reach for nearly all of the workforce. Vacancy rates are under 1%, and many of the residents, teachers, hospitality workers, and service providers simply cannot find a place to live. Summit Housing Group is requesting $1.5 million in HDG funding to construct these new modular units. This project isn't just about new housing. It's about building long-term affordability into the foundation of a fast-growing region. It's about making sure Granby remains a place where local residents, not just tourists, can create a life. Lisa Blakeney is the project's underwriter, and I'm joined by Paul Kapp and Sam Long of the Summit Housing Group, who are going to explain why this project is so essential for the state of Colorado. Paul, Sam, take it away.
Thank you, James. And we appreciate all of your hard work in pushing this project forward. As James mentioned, the reason for this ask is we are in a very challenging marketplace right now, and I've heard that repeatedly several times in the presentations. Equity pricing, since we received our tax credit award back in November, this is with state credits, has dropped. And so we're being very good stewards of all those tax credit funds and moving this project forward in every way possible, turning over every stone. And I'm going to let Sam Long here in a moment speak to the capital stack, which is quite large. There's a lot of contributions here. One of the things I did want to mention is Summit is a developer. We're also a manager. We manage everything we build. We're making a long-term commitment to Granby and Grand County with this project. The other important thing is this is a proof of concept. I heard that earlier in the presentation. This is the project to prove that modular construction works in the tax credit space. We believe that we have equity committed here, and I'm thankful for that because there's some that are not going to get equity, maybe not in Colorado, but in other states. It's challenging. We will close this project in 60 days. We should have COs by the end of Q1 of 26. I think we can do it in 9 months, barring any unforeseen situations. It may push it a couple of months, but by the end of Q2 for sure, I expect COs and a completely full project. We want to show that modular is a great option in the tax credit space. And as I have said to many people in the last 6 months, we feel that
50% of LIHTC projects developed in the next 5 to 10 years will be modular. So there's a lot of eyes on this one. This is an important project. We know the governor's been pushing modular construction, and we're going to show with this project that modular fits in this tax credit space. Sam, would you mention the capital stack and the details on the project, please?
You might be on mute.
Well, instead of waiting, let me do that for Sam. The capital stack is interesting. We have cash and other waiver commitments from the town of Granby. We have commitments from the Fraser River Valley Housing Partners for a significant contribution. We have financing or funding from the Grand Foundation for a significant contribution. We also, through IDF, have taken down the land. They provided some financing for us to take that land down. And I think that before the day is over, we'll have several other projects or several other small gap funding measures that will help with the project. We also want to admit this, or remember, this is the first tax credit deal in Granby's history. There's not been another tax credit project in Granby. And this is a rural project. I don't need to tell anybody on this committee, on this board, the need for housing in rural areas across the state. So significant need, and we want to help solve that. We are doing income averaging on this, so we're going to be reaching from 30% up to 80% AMI. So we'll spread that out to address, based on the market study, the need for housing in the community. I don't want to keep you any longer. Thank you, James, for all of your support and help. And I'm happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Paul. Any questions from the board?
Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you all. All right, excellent. Thank you all for bearing with us. We have reached the end of the project application stage. We're now going to move on to the project application voting stage. Since there are 4 deals that a few board members will need to recuse themselves from, we're going to go ahead and do these in 3 batches. First batch, I'd like to request approval for, and hold on. Teresa, do we need approval for? No, we don't. I answered my own question. Excuse me. Like to request approval for 10th and Wolf, Beeler Park, 3 Mile MHP, Fillmore Duplexes, Chrysalis Apartments, BV Crossing, The Stables, Calvary Flats, Swiss Village, and that's it for the first batch.
So moved. This is Ladon.
Second, this is Candace.
Thank you for the second, Candace. All those in favor signify by an eye or a hand raise.
Aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Excellent. Congratulations to that first batch of awardees. Next, we'll go ahead and request approval with Ryan recusing himself from Compass Point.
I move to approve the Compass Point project.
Thanks,
Candace.
Second, this is Ladon.
Thank you, Ladon, for that second. All those in favor signified by an eye or a hand raise.
Aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Great. Compass Point passes. And then the last batch will be Creekside Flat, Summit at Granby, and Loretto Heights with me. I'm recusing myself from those 3. I can ask for a motion of approval, please.
So moved. This is Ladon.
Thanks, Ladon.
I'll second.
A second by Ryan Jones. Thank you, Ryan. All those in favor signified by an eye or a hand raise.
Aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Did I miss any deals? I hope someone was watching. I think we're good. Congratulations to everybody again. Thank you all for bearing with us. It's a longer meeting than usual, but just wonderful projects. Thank you for fighting the good fight here. These are not easy, and we're so grateful. We'll see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Take care, everybody.